what we do, how we act, the way we speak, has an effect not only on other people, but on our own minds. So we are creating, moment to moment, our own inner mental environment. And this is the environment we inhabit in our lives. When we understand this, we begin to take more responsibility for our actions, for our speech, for our thoughts, what we choose to give energy to, what we choose to let go of, because we realize that our own happiness depends on this awareness. You're probably familiar with this Vietnamese Zen master, mindfulness master, Thich Nhat Hanh. He had a wonderful expression. He said, Buddhism is a clever way to enjoy life. Happiness is available. Please help yourselves to it. Happiness is available, and we can help ourselves to it if we are mindful about what we're doing. If we're mindful of the kinds of thoughts that are arising in our minds, if we're mindful of our speech, if we're mindful of our actions. And the Buddha made it quite simple, actually, in terms of us understanding what leads to happiness and what leads to suffering. And you're probably familiar, he talked of how the three wholesome roots of mind, the three wholesome roots of all those actions that bring happiness are non-greed or generosity, non-hatred or love, and non-delusion or wisdom. And the three roots of action that bring suffering are exactly the opposite. They're the actions of greed, of hatred, of delusion. And so our task is to pay close enough attention so that we realize what it is that we're doing, which qualities of mind are we actually cultivating. The point of reference for discerning whether something is skillful or unskillful is quite subtle. The point of reference is the motivation behind the action. It's said in some teachings that everything rests on the tip of motivation. That's how important this quality is. So before we speak, what's our motive? What's our motivation for speaking? Before we act, or in our thoughts, what's the motivation? This can be very subtle because very often we have mixed motivations. An action can be quite either complex or hidden, and we may not at first really know what our motivation is. So it takes a willingness, it takes an interest. And sometimes it takes courage, a real honesty to see, okay, what is really going on here? If we are engaged in an act of generosity, is it coming from a very pure place, of giving, of love, of compassion? Is it mixed in with the motive perhaps of wanting approval, or wanting love, or thinking, oh, if I'm generous, this is going to be a good karmic result, and I'm going to get a lot back. So there can be a lot of different motivations in a very simple act. We shouldn't be discouraged by this. This is just how it is for most of us. I think the important challenge is to be willing to look and to be honest about what's there, and then to emphasize the wholesome aspect. There may be the other aspects, they may be there, but we can emphasize or give precedence to really that motive that's most pure.